you're probably going to know what I'm going to ask you already, because I've asked you a million times, so I do apologise. But can you recall the events of 1940, specifically the period in June the 10th when Italy declared war on Great Britain? How did you hear about the declaration of war?
On the radio. On the radio, you know, but then the only thing afterwards was it all started when they came and took my dad. But we found, you know, that Italy went into war with England, and then afterwards, like I said, Dad came up to my bedroom and he said that I'm afraid you have to go into the shop in Smithfield because they've taken a dollful. So of course, didn't realise it then, but that was the beginning of my life. And that was early in the morning, and in the afternoon they came to take my dad. And
who came to take your dad?
Huh?
Who came to take your dad?
Two detectives from the police station, which was Snow Hill Police, and that's where we lived in Cock Lane. And of course it was very painful because, you know, when to see your dad take away. And then my grandmama, she broke down, and they were very good, the police, because they knew my father. They called him Peter, you know, knew us all. Of course, sometimes Dad used to leave the door open of the cafe, and they used to come up in our bedrooms, and turn around and said to Dad, "I don't know, Peter, you've gone and done it again. You've left your door open." So anyway, and of course, one of the policemen turned around and said, "Make a run for it." My dad said, "Well, where do you think I'm going to run to? You might as well, you know, if I've got to go, you might as well, let's go." But then afterwards, we didn't hear anything for about 3 months. And that's when we heard that he was at the Isle of Man. And of course, in that time, my nonna, she didn't want to live anymore. And another crisis came about, and there's a time when she was getting worse, and kept going down to the police station and telling them, you know, to send my dad home. So every time I went down there, I said, well, you know, my gran's very ill. So my father did come, but she didn't recognise him. And I could say that my nonna, she died of a broken heart. She did. And of course she had to go back again. And afterwards, Nonna had gone, you know, so he came home. And they didn't send him back. And they didn't even let him work in his own cafe. He had to go and work for a bakery. So there you go.
Did you go and see him on the Isle of Man?
Yes, I went to see him on the Isle of Man. I went twice to see my dad. And when I got there, all by wire, all the way round, went in, great big room, and just sat down, and long table. I was one end, Dad was the other, and two officers were walking round and just asked, you know, how you are. I think most of the time I think I was crying. Can't remember, you know, but what we said, but we stayed at the Isle of Man in a bed and breakfast. I had my cousin with me.
Can you tell me a bit about your time in the Blitz? With your experiences there and what you saw some of the nights?
Oh yeah. Well, anyway, they wanted us to go to St Paul's Underground, but no way, didn't want to go there. So they found us a place next to the Old Bailey, in a warehouse, in a basement. And when we went down there were already bunks. So they must have known something was going to happen, because surprised to see all these bunks, you know, in the basement. And sirens, when they went off, we just come out and go walk down there. And I had my nonna on my arm. I mean, I think she was in her 70s. And all these incendiary bombs, they were like rain. They were coming down just like as if it was raining in incendiary bombs. So we all went in there, and when we used to come out in the morning, and I had my cousin there with us. And also, well, we were always frightened when we came out, if our places were still standing, really. Of course, then one night was very bad. They were bombing the docks, it was. And it was one continued bang all night. So it got so bad that two city police came down and took us out of there, and they put us in Smithfield Market, which was underneath Smithfield, which was a cold storage. It was so cold. It was very cold. And all around, well, when we came out to go there, we looked around. Well, I looked around, and no matter where you looked, left, right, centre, it was just full of flames, all burning. Everything was burning around you, and you were in the middle. And it was so frightening, so frightening. And of course we couldn't go back, you know, to where we were before in that shelter. I don't know how long we stayed there, and then eventually we went back. But it was very, and I mean, you know, to think what we had hardly anything to sell. I mean, we were boiling on primer stoves, boiling the water to make the tea. Of course, it was all ration. You know, you had to write down how many cups of tea you sold and whatever you had. You had to write everything down. And I don't know what else, you know.
Was there an occasion one night where your grandmother forgot to...
Oh yes, yeah. One night, well, we didn't know that. We only knew afterwards that we had a call from, or we had a letter to say we had to go to court, and we just wondered what happened. So we didn't realise, you know, it was afterwards that we realised that Nonna, she'd forgot to pull the curtains, blackout. That's when we saw this letter, we assumed it was that. And of course, when we went in front of the judge, he turned around and he said, you've been signaling to the enemy. Well, I mean, we knew nothing about the enemy. You know, I mean, we were all innocent there. I mean, what can you say? Oh, well, I'm afraid that would be £10. I mean, then £10 was a lot of money. I think it was all the money Mum had. I'm not sure.
Did your dad have a tribunal?
No.
On what basis was he? You know, when a policeman came, I know there's a procedure when police come to arrest a person. There has to be a charge. We arrest you on the suspicion of. Were these words presented to your dad, or? I
can't remember that. I can't remember. They might have done.
Was he handcuffed at all?
That I can't remember. I don't think so, somehow.
What was it like then for you and your mum in those 3 months before you heard anything? Didn't you hear anything at all where they'd been taken to? There was no letters from police station, no policeman to come and tell you that it was okay?
No, that's why it was a big surprise. But they knew something, I think Dad knew something was going to, you know, whatever. He must have known something was going to happen. Because for him to say that morning, you know, you've got to go to the shop, and because they've taken Adolfo, and I know that they're going to take me, that was early in the morning, they're going to take me in the afternoon.
So he already knew?
So, yeah, so he, you know, he must have heard it from one of the superintendent or whoever.
The Isle of Man, do you remember the name of the camp?
Well, they were, you know, on the Isle of Man, they were in hotels on the seafront, all along the seafront. There were all these beautiful hotels, and they were all in there, and they had all the barbed wires all around them.
So there was hotel.
They're all hotel. They're all in hotels.
Were there guards on watchtowers as well? Or
that I don't know.
Just barbed wire.
All I can see was barbed wire.
And so you went inside the hotel, and what did you do from there? Was your dad waiting for you there? Did he know you were coming? Had you written to him?
I think, yeah, we were writing to each other, yeah. Oh yes.
So you said, I'm going to come and visit you.
Yeah.
And then you made your way over. And what kind of conditions did you find him in? Were they favourable conditions or?
Well, you know, it's a bit hard to say, Stefano. It's a long time ago.
Did he look well? Did he look well nourished? Or was he, you know, giù di spirito?
Not really good. I can't remember. Can't remember that part.
Because I know the Isle of Man, it was old, holiday resorts. That had been in. So the room that you talked to your dad in basically was just a room with a. Just a room, yeah. Just an ordinary room, maybe twice bigger than this one, even more, I should imagine. It might have been one of those. If it's a hotel, it could have been one of a lounge. Can't think of anything else. And under what conditions were you allowed to visit? You and him talking, and was there anyone else present inside the room? That's what I said to you. There were these two soldiers. I don't know if they were captains or whatever. They must have known the language. They must have done. So the conversation was censored, as well as the letters. Probably. Oh, of course, yeah. Did you have guidelines in what to write and not what to write if their letters were censored, or did you receive letters with just loads of words crossed out or sentences missing?
That was done, yeah. Crossed out.
How do you feel all about this episode of the internment? Do you think, what did you make of it all?
What did I make of it all?
Yeah.
You know, I was what? I don't know if I was, when the war broke out, I was 14. So I might have been 15, 16 at the time. I didn't know much, Stefano. You know. I mean, at that age, and then all of a sudden, you know, what came about. It was just a shock, really.
How long had you had the cafe in Smithfield?
The one in Smithfield, that was on a lease, but Smithfield, Cock Lane that wasn't on a lease. It was property.
So you'd been there for a few years?
But the one in Cock Lane.
Your dad's cafe?
Yeah, well, I mean, I went there. I was born in 1925. And my dad took me there when I was 3 years old. So, of course, I was there, I mean, when the war broke out, I was 14. So you can add up yourself.
11 years. And when the war did break out, you had the cafe there for 11 years. Was there a notable change in attitude towards you by your customers?
When Italy went in war, of course there was. I mean, you know, we thought we were very friendly with our customers, but when Italy went in war, they didn't come in the shop anymore. Some came in, but some just walked by.
Did their attitudes towards you slowly change?
Pardon?
Did their attitude towards you slowly change, or did it remain, you know, at a distance throughout?
Well, I mean, thank God, you know, we weren't like my uncle, where he lived near the East Indian docks. They had it bad. You know, my uncle and my auntie and the family, I mean, they had to hide it in the cellar because they were very frightened.
Hide it in the cellar?
Well, they hid in the cellar because they were smashing their shop up. You know, and that they did have a bad time. And my uncle, they didn't take him. They didn't take him.
Was there any reason why they didn't take your uncle?
I don't know. Maybe of what happened to them, I suppose. You know.
So how did you survive with a lot of your customers not coming to the shop anymore?
Well, I mean, it was I don't think they were all stayed away. I mean, some still came in, of course.
But they weren't abusive towards you?
No. No, because, I mean, when I used to open the shop round the corner, I mean, all on my own at that time, the customers were very nice. You know. Matter of fact, they used to help me. They used to bring back all their cups and plates and that.
I suppose probably what helped a lot of people was how long they'd been there for.
No, because you see, most of our neighbours were housekeepers. They used to look after their buildings. You know, they had families living on the actually inside the building. They had the flats or whatever, their accommodation. So they were our neighbours. So, you know, we used to play with the children. But all had children.
What was life like before the war broke out? Were you accepted here as aliens, shall we say?
Yeah.
No problem?
No problem at all. No, because I mean, I used to go to school, come home, and I used to help Dad in the shop.
I mean, that so well integrated that the policeman said to your dad, "Make a run for it."
I know. No, they like my dad, you know, very much. They liked us very much, didn't it? I mean, there was no
animosity whatsoever.
Eh?
No animosity whatsoever.
No. As a matter of fact, the horses, because there were horses then, you know, they were police were on horseback, and they always used to. They knew they might have a crust of bread. I used to take out, and you know, and of course every time they used to come up Cock Lane, they knew where they're going to get that crust of bread, and they used to, and the horse used to put his nose inside the door. And I've got to tell you, one Christmas we didn't have nothing, and one of our customers. They were smoking at the bottom of Cock Lane. They had a factory there which they smoked bacon. So he bought us a nice piece of bacon and a Christmas pudding. So that was, you know, that helped a lot.
Nice gesture for Christmas.
Yeah.
Under difficult times.
And I used to go to Smithfield Market every morning, line up to find whatever they had, bacon or sausages or anything, just to come to the shop.
Was it difficult for your dad to readjust from being an enemy alien to back to being a civilian?
Well, it was a big shock, I think, for my dad. I think he suffered a lot.
Was it easy for him to get back behind? Because I know he didn't work in the shop because he couldn't work in his own shop.
Yeah.
He had to go and work for a bakery. Was it easy for him just to come back?
No, because you see, he was going to the bakery, but he was coming back home of a night. It wasn't as if he had to stay there night as well.
But serving in the bakery or working in a bakery, was it difficult to him to but to deal with the general public again like he had done before the war?
I don't think so. I don't know. Can't remember that one time.
Well, I think that's it.
And then, you know, of course, then my two young brothers, they were evacuated. You just think one was 7, the other one was 4. And that's why my Tony suffered a lot. He suffered a lot.
He was taken out to...
Swindon, Wood and Bassett, that's where they my brothers, that's where they finished up. And when we went down there, my mum and I, my Carlo come up to me and he said, "Why don't you come down here every day?" We used to send them parcels and clothes.
How long were they away?
Well, they were away. I think about a couple of years they were away. And just think, each, they were taking one at a time. But my Tony was crying so much to be with his brother. So they had to find a family that would take the two of them.
Well, I think that's it.
Well, I don't know what else.